Welcome to Global West. Please subscribe to the channel. This is why you need to pay attention to the Philippines' bold diplomatic moves as it navigates a new era with an old neighbor. As the Philippines prepares to mark 50 years of diplomatic ties with China in 2025, the milestone is both a celebration and a moment of deep reflection. Half a century of engagement has brought periods of cooperation, but also moments of tension and uncertainty. Today, the relationship is more fraught than ever, with both sides navigating a complex web of historical grievances, economic interests, and shifting regional dynamics. In recent months, Manila has signed a new, uneven trade deal with the United States, signaling a renewed commitment to its oldest ally. This agreement, while promising economic benefits, has also raised concerns about dependency and the potential costs of favoring one superpower over another. At the same time, the Philippines is negotiating a major economic partnership with Beijing, a delicate balancing act made even more challenging by rising tensions in the West Philippine Sea and the broader contest for influence in Southeast Asia. The aggressive actions of Chinese vessels near Scarborough Shoal have brought the unresolved sovereignty disputes into sharp focus, underscoring the risks and realities that come with being at the center of a regional flashpoint. The Philippines is striving to engage all major powers, seeking economic gains from China, hoping to benefit from its vast market and investments, while at the same time relying on U.S. security guarantees to safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity in the face of mounting external pressures. But this strategy is not without risks. It can send mixed signals to both partners and demands careful, skillful diplomacy to avoid the danger of becoming a pawn in the intensifying U.S.-China rivalry that is shaping the region's future. As the nation reflects on this significant anniversary, it faces tough questions about its identity, its alliances, and how best to protect its interests in a rapidly changing and unpredictable world. The choices made now will shape the Philippines' path for decades to come. The U.S.-Philippines alliance remains Manila's most vital strategic anchor, deterring aggression and providing a security umbrella against China's expanding presence. The Mutual Defense Treaty gives the Philippines leverage it would otherwise lack, while deep-rooted democratic values and public sentiment keep the nation oriented toward Washington. Economically, the U.S. is a top trading partner and investor, and the latest trade deal, despite its flaws, signals Washington's intent to keep Manila close. This multifaceted alliance offers stability and options, allowing the Philippines to engage China economically without sacrificing its security. As Manila navigates new deals with Beijing, its American alliance remains the bedrock of its national security. Scarborough Shoal has once again become a flashpoint, with Chinese Coast Guard vessels harassing Philippine ships supporting local fishermen. The deployment of a Chinese warship, in violation of past agreements, signals Beijing's determination to assert control despite the 2016 Hague ruling. These confrontations risk accidental escalation, putting regional stability on a knife's edge. President Marcos Jr. has ordered restraint, but this leaves Philippine forces in a reactive posture, highlighting the ongoing danger in the West Philippine Sea. China's gray zone tactics force Manila to defend its territory without triggering open conflict, underscoring the stakes of the maritime dispute. The Philippines' foreign policy has long swung with each new president, reflecting the country's vibrant but often unpredictable democracy. Each administration brings its own priorities and strategies, sometimes dramatically shifting the nation's stance on key international issues. This constant change undermines any hope for a consistent long-term approach to China, making it difficult to build trust or credibility with foreign partners. The abrupt shift from Aquino's legal challenge at The Hague to Duterte's pivot for Chinese loans and investment left both allies and adversaries confused about Manila's true intentions. This inconsistency has weakened Manila's bargaining power, making it harder to negotiate from a position of strength or unity. Without a steady direction, the government struggles to develop the expertise and institutional memory needed for effective diplomacy. This signals to Beijing that it can simply wait out tough Philippine administrations, anticipating a more favorable government in the future. Today, the current government seeks a delicate balance, re-engaging the U.S. for security while keeping dialogue open with China for economic opportunities. Yet, the risk of future reversals remains high. To stabilize its China policy, the Philippines needs a broad national consensus that upholds sovereignty and reflects the will of its people, not just the vision of one leader. Such a consensus must also be flexible enough to adapt to changing regional and global realities, ensuring the country's interests are always protected. Without this, the nation remains reactive, always off balance and vulnerable to external pressures or sudden policy swings. Only a unified long-term strategy, rooted in national interest and supported by the public, can truly secure the Philippines' place and prosperity in the region. Chinese economic partnership offers the Philippines tempting benefits, massive infrastructure, trade, and tourism, but also serious risks. Debt traps, lack of transparency, and political leverage are real concerns, as seen in other countries' experiences with Chinese-funded projects. Economic dependence could compromise sovereignty and foreign policy independence, while rushed projects may harm the environment or national security. The government must approach Chinese deals with caution, demanding transparency, fair terms, and protection of local interests. The challenge is to reap economic rewards without sacrificing long-term autonomy. Manila must walk this tightrope with vigilance and strategic foresight. The Philippines stands at a crossroads, facing some of the most challenging decisions in its recent history. On one hand, it relies on its long-standing security alliance with the United States, which has provided military support and a sense of protection for decades. On the other, China's growing economic influence and proximity make it an unavoidable partner. Responding to China's assertive actions in the West Philippine Sea could mean ramping up joint patrols with allies or even taking more assertive stances, each option carrying the risk of military escalation and diplomatic fallout. At the same time, Manila must carefully weigh the potential benefits of new U.S. trade deals, which could open up markets and create jobs, against possible disadvantages such as stricter regulations or political strings attached. Meanwhile, the promise of Chinese investment brings opportunities for infrastructure and development, but also raises concerns about long-term dependency and loss of economic sovereignty. Every decision now carries significant geopolitical weight, further complicated by deep domestic divisions and passionate public debate over the country's future direction. Public wariness of China remains high, making it essential for leaders to build a broad domestic consensus. Only with public support can the government pursue a sustainable and effective foreign policy that truly serves the nation. As Manila navigates these turbulent waters, it must ensure its choices reflect both the national interest and the values of its people. The path forward will require not just diplomatic skill but also unity and resilience from all Filipinos. For lasting peace and prosperity, the Philippines must move beyond reactive foreign policy and build a stable, strategic approach. A national security strategy rooted in sovereignty, the rule of law, and economic growth is essential. Hedging, deepening ties with all major powers, can maximize autonomy and minimize risks. Manila should strengthen its U.S. alliance, diversify partnerships, and engage China pragmatically, compartmentalizing cooperation and conflict. Investing in its own capabilities and democratic institutions will create a more credible deterrent and ensure policy continuity. Sophisticated diplomacy, not presidential whims, must guide the nation's course. By staying principled and diversified, the Philippines can chart its own destiny in the Indo-Pacific.